webinar termed as Supermom, is it a myth or a reality? So if you're joining us now, we welcome you. And we are here with ECDF. Thanks to ECDF for giving us all these exciting opportunities and bringing us together, giving us a very meaningful break from our work and discuss some different topics very closely related to our life this time. Being a supermom, is it a myth? Is it a reality? Now, if you're here to learn how to be a supermom, you're at a wrong place because we are still trying to figure that out. But what we have is a very exciting panel who have one thing in common, the experience of momming or dadding. We don't know what's going to happen next, as like in parenting, but we are very excited to find out what we will do next 1 hour. So welcome once again. With me, I have Dr. Vasavi, who will talk to us about this amazing work she does day in, day out. Even this morning, early morning, she is full of enthusiasm, telling me she's going to one of our centers and she'll be back in time to join us. So a very warm welcome, Dr. Vasavi. Please do talk to us about ECDF. The floor is yours.
Hi, Simran. Hi, everybody. And thank you so much for joining us for this webinar today. And this is about supermom, a myth or reality, because we all try to be supermoms. We all try to do our best, multitask. But are we able to do it? Do we meet the expectations? There are a lot of things that will be discussed in today's webinar. And I welcome you all from on behalf of our ECDF team. And ECDF is doing awesome work in terms of supporting children from the marginalized sections of the society in terms of giving quality education to them in their early childhood years. And we had very successful programs this year in Delhi, where we launched a book and Mr. Jitesh was a part of it. Simran was a part of it. She's co-authored. And then we had a wonderful, a very, very enlightening conference in the Leela. And we're looking for other events, this time international, of ECDF. So we look forward that you all join us and be a part of our programs. And over to you, Simran, because this very interesting webinar, I'm also like waiting to hear what our experts have to say on this. Supermoms, myth or reality.
Thanks, Dr. Vasavi. And also my team will be putting, one second, I'm sorry. While I talk about being supermom, my daughter is knocking because she's back from the school. I think yes. Okay, I will hand over to to Sue to talk about herself and talk about being a challenge. What is the challenge of being a mom, a super mom? And the floor is yours, Dr. Sue.
Hi, my name's Sue Asquith, so I'm here in the UK, so it is mid-morning here. I know you're probably on the afternoon and evening time zone, so good evening and good afternoon wherever you are joining around the world just now. So I am an international early childhood consultant and author of a book called Self-Regulation Skills in Young Children. I support settings in the UK and internationally with lots of early childhood development courses and lots of blogs and things going on as well. So perhaps you want to seek me out on social media. I do a lot on Facebook if you'd like to join me there. So in answer to superheroes and myth or reality, I think we really need to think about not all superheroes wear capes. I know we've probably read lots throughout the years about maybe the nurses and doctors and things like that have kept us all safe and well, hopefully during COVID and things. But when we think of superheroes, we just think of those superpowers and people having these superhero capes and things like that. But actually, our parents, both mums and dads, I know we're here to speak about mums today because obviously we're thinking Mother's Day, but I think we need to think about our parents in terms of being these superheroes. And in terms of the myth or reality, I think also it depends on the expectations on our family role and the expectations of being a mum, which do differ throughout the world, obviously, depending on where you live and your faith and your culture. So we do need to kind of think, in terms of how we're meeting those expectations, first of all, let's benchmark that. What are the expectations of us as mums? Some of us, if we look in research through early childhood development, some of us will think back to Bowlby and his work on attachment that started to talk about the unconditional love of the mother. Bowlby did actually re-release some of his research to say that unconditional love of a mother or father or the main carers in children's lives. And whether we're meeting this or whether we feel we're meeting this kind of role would really depend on how much support you have, obviously, around you, and how much fathers, and maybe if you live in a multi-generational house, others may help. And I think it also depends on whether you're a working mum or not, and whether you're also balancing childcare and home life and, the role of motherhood at home too. So myth or reality, I don't know. It depends on your family, doesn't it, and your culture and your circumstances. But I do know that being a mum does involve a lot of multitasking, regardless of whether you're a stay-at-home mum or whether you're a working mum. We're always zipping about, trying to time things down to the last moment, plan ahead about what we need, deadlines for work maybe. And also, obviously, if we're cooking and cleaning and doing all that kind of household top chores as well, we really need to really think about that multitasking. And I don't know, it sounds a lot like Dr. Basasby today as us being all over the place and maybe got here at the last moment to join, but actually we don't often plan extra time for ourselves, extra time to what happens if I'm running late. Actually, there's no kind of plan B, is there, sometimes, because we're so busy trying to fit everybody else's expectations in. I think maybe we'll hand over to the next person, but just thinking about Mother's Day and where that comes from as well. I've done a little bit of research into this for the last couple of days, and I can pin it down to ancient Greeks and Romans that obviously started this, it looks like, if you do the research into this. And they did it in terms of honouring the mother goddess. But then obviously throughout the year, throughout the world, we have maybe all taken elements of that and made our special days. It's not Mother's Day here in the UK. We had that back in March, but we do know that throughout the world, this is celebrated, and rightly so, in many different ways and across the world in many different dates. So I'm just going to put myself on mute and hand nicely over to the next person to see what you think about, is it a myth or reality? So over to you.
Thank you, Sue, and thanks a lot for covering it promptly for me while my daughter was banging my door. Thank you so much. And I kind of had this intuition that so much of being a host, and that's exactly the time my daughter comes in. So I said, it's going to be a reality check, the mom and the host. I really liked your point where you said not every super mom or superman wears a cape, but expectations are also not always clear. They are very underlying for a mom, especially. And so, yeah, I mean, I hear you. It's also about managing those expectations and sometimes the underlying expectations. So on this note, I go to our next panelist. Sana, kindly introduce yourself and talk to us about this supermom myth or reality. The floor is yours.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Sana Fatma Larek from the UAE. Since last 8 years, I am in UAE. I'm the tenor and speaker in early years along with the Montessori directors. And I am the CEO of the HM Corporate Services. And Alhamdulillah, I am the mother of 2 children. One is the 6 and the other one is the 7.5. So I must say that when they're here to share here about the super mom, I proud myself each and every day. I face the challenges, but as a super mom, I must say that you have 2 skills regarding the time management and follow the deadlines and meet the criteria regarding the home chores, regarding your work, regarding your child responsibilities, home responsibilities, how to carry on it. So here as the super mom, we have to wake up early in the morning and the daily basis. It's a routine, not a weekly. It's a routine that when we have to wake up early in the morning, we have to get up early to the children, make a breakfast, whatever they wanted. We have to meet the criteria and the timeline of the schools now. We have to attend the meetings in between the work, how to manage the PTMs for the children, how we will convey the message to our teachers regarding our children, that one where they have to work on it, how I have to improve myself in regarding my children progress. So I must say that one, yes, as the super mom, we have to sometimes face the challenges. But again, I must say that when you have a patience being a super mom, you must have a patience regarding all the things. It's your responsibility. And if somewhere I read it that one, it's a myth. Now, how it's a myth, I read over there somewhere that when the mom said that whenever I make a blog, she is a blogger. So I make a blog. So every time my home is messed up, so before the vlogging recording, I must be clean up the home to see the corner very clean. So it's a myth. But I must say that one here is that when your children is follow your instructions, right? As a parents, it's your responsibility that one keep their own places, take anything, keep their own places, don't make mess up. If you are coming from the school, you have to keep your shoes on their own places. You have to clothes hanging on there. So it's I must say that one being a super mom, that when you have the children follow your instructions, and whatever you are doing, they have to follow you. So first you have to improve ourselves, and then we have to keep expectations to our children that they must have to do this. So I must say that when I must go for the super mom, I must proud of myself each and every day, that when before a day start, I must give my me time, how it will be possible that when my timeline, as I told you that when there is a timeline that 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, they must be on the bed. When they select it, I made a coffee for me, and I enjoy 30 minutes, 40 minutes, any movie, any storybook. So I give to and refresh myself for the next day. So these are my, which I share with you.
Thank you, Sana. I think if we have kids listening to us, that itself is being a super mom, that.
Yes, exactly.
Well, on that note, I move to our next. Yeah, thank you, Sana.
Thank you.
I move to our next panelist, Jessica. Would you kindly introduce yourself, and the floor is yours.
Hi everyone. I am Jessica A. Manglani. I am a counselor by profession. Have been an IB educator for over a decade now. I have always loved to deal with children, and now I'm a mom of 2. So this topic itself is so enticing for me to speak. I read somewhere that there was no way to be a perfect mother, and millions of ways to be a good one. It so struck me, well, I'm not a perfect mother. I'm definitely not a super mom. I cannot do everything right for my daughter. I just can't. I can't always be the best mother. I can't always be the best spouse to my husband. I cannot be the perfect career woman. Simply put, I have abandoned this myth of the super mom, and I really feel a lot better. Moms are hardwired to be self-sacrificing. Put that baby on, do all your work. It's a 24/7 commitment. Work doesn't end at 5 p.m. It's not like you have to shut your laptop and things are done. But somehow that normal urge to sacrifice for our family leads to an expectation that we will never limit our sacrifices. Come what may, we have to sacrifice. You are going to get what you get. And more destructively, the setting limits makes us lesser moms. If we set a boundary for ourselves, no, that I will not be able to do it. We have society to tell us, oh, you are setting a boundary. Don't you know you are a mother? You have to do everything for your child. I am doing my best. Your mental shift away from the super mom ideal has to come from within. Sure, the unrealistic messages about working motherhood, of course, they surround us. The society is, of course, there. The pressure of high expectations but ultimately is self-imposed. If I am imposing myself with a lot of pressure of being the best mother, then I cannot breathe. Somewhere I feel that the expectation from yourself from being perfect to good enough is better than having anything else. So today we are discussing the topic super mom because of the society and the culture expects women to be just perfect, especially mothers as the biggest sacrifice in their child's life. So yes, I do the best for my child. I try and do the best for my child. But I am not giving myself a title of being super mom. I don't want to sacrifice each and everything in my life. Yet I can do everything for my kids. And for myself also, give time for my self-care as well, which is very, very important. As Miss Sana just pointed out that, whatever time I have, I sip a cup of coffee or do something so that I just brace myself up for the next coming hours or the days. So yes, I am not a super mom, but I am good enough.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for adding a different touch to this topic altogether. With this, I now move to Archana. Archana, please introduce yourself and talk to us about this topic. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. A very good afternoon, all gorgeous ladies and equally gorgeous gentlemen on the panel here. So yes, the topic, super mom, reality or myth. I think it is partially 50% myth and 50% reality. Undoubtedly, moms are super moms. All of you must be knowing we are all literate, educated, and with the social media bombardment, we are well aware of everything, right? Right from the time of delivery, a woman has a wound as big as a dinner plate in her uterus at the time of birth, and then she's expected to be the super mom, look after the young, the newborn, and then be always fresh, energetic, when you actually are completely drained of energy and you hardly have the strength to take a step. Right from that minute till the child grows up, you are a constant support. Obviously, you are all rolled into one, right from the nurturer to caregiver to doctor to teacher to security man to every single thing. Mom is all rolled into one. So definitely calling a woman a super mom is not a myth. It definitely is a reality. But then I would also agree with Miss Jessica when when she says that please do not place unrealistic expectations, because we also need to realize that at the end of the day, we are human too. Okay, and that is where we women always we always take the back seat, and it is something like everybody else comes first. So it is the children, then it is the husband, then it is the family, and agar kuch jaan bachi hai, then it is me, right? So I think yes, we women have to be a little more selfish. They're too very selfless. And that is the image that has been built. Okay. We as human beings, we need to also take care of ourselves. That's what I must say. And talking about the reality of being a superman, yes, you need to be available at all times, do everything perfectly. And that's where I think we quickly reach the stage of burnout, where we have this unexpected or what do I say, unrealistic expectations of ourselves, right? Not necessary that everything is perfect. Like Miss Jessica said, okay, what's there if something is imperfect? The world is not perfect. We also need to teach our child that there are two sides to every coin. So you need not be perfect all the time. And I think if I am trying to picturize myself as being picture perfect and being that super mom, I am doing a great injustice to my daughters, wherein I am setting a path or a role model as to, come on, you also have to slog and do everything selflessly all your life without caring for yourself. But no, I think we also need to give a little attention to ourselves. I think this trend has started now, unlike the previous generations, wherein if I look at my mom, undefinitely she is a super mom with everything she's done. At 70, even today, she wakes up at 5, she is full of energy, she doesn't sit even for a second, and even before everybody else in the house is up, she's done with all of the housework, and she's still active. If I look at myself, I'm not half of what she is. But then, yes, but what I realize is at the end of the day, women have always downplayed themselves. But I think we've woken up to the fact and giving a little care and love for ourselves. And thank you so much, Dr. Vasavi, for bringing up this topic here, because I think this is one topic which actually requires discussion. And yes, just portraying women, Durga, 8 hands, you do everything. You are just satisfying the ego and pushing the woman to the last shred of energy she has. No, we are human. We also need all of the pampering, a little pampering here and there, and no harm pampering oneself once in a while. Like Miss Jessica said, have a quiet cup of coffee or just let your hair loose and dance. Okay, so that's my take on supermom reality or myth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Archana. And very nicely balanced it out between being the myth or the reality. And yes, of course, our moms were made of different substance. And I'm sure most of us have said, Mummy, you would have done this. I'm not going to do this. So now I go to a very enterprising and very patient super dad with us, who is been listening to us patiently with his lovely smile. But the question that I have for you, Mr. Jitesh, is not about the super mom, because we often have a lot going on about moms, and very rarely we give credit to a super dad, because dads do a lot of things in the background. And sometimes they are supporting these moms to be super moms, but they often don't get the credit. So do talk to us about that. And of course, you can also talk about how you felt hearing from everyone. Over to you, Mr. Jitesh. And kindly do introduce yourself. The floor is yours.
So hi, I'm Jitesh Khanna. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm also a social activist. I'm a writer. I'm a published author. And I do a few more things. So I'm basically a jack of all trades, master of none. So I'm so glad to be here, first of all. And I heard all the 4 lovely ladies speak, and some amazing points coming over. Long back, somebody very wise told me that there is nothing called superhuman. And this whole pursuit of becoming a superhuman is useless. He told me that the best thing that you can do is become the best version of yourself. Human beings will always remain human beings. In terms of parenting, how I take it, and it's my take, and I'm sure some of you might agree and might not agree, is that the best version of yourself doesn't mean peak performance. The best version of yourself means that, are you a happy person? Are you living a life where you're bringing out your potentials? Are you really looking into your unfulfilled potentials, and are you really working on it? Are you a happy person? Are you doing things that make you happier, which are great for your mental health? Because being a parent, the first thing that I did with my son was that, first of all, I'll be very honest with you, I'm a very panicky parent. First time when I became a father, I would wake up the entire year just to check if my son is fine. Because at night, somebody told me that sometimes kids gag or something like that, and I didn't know anything. So like a scared dad, and my wife would sleep she would have a very nice sound sleep. I would be the one who would wake up every 2 hours just to check my son. So this whole myth about moms, the fathers can be equally, panicky, can be equally protective about the children. Till a certain age, when we would go out, I would just be around him like a shadow, ensuring that he doesn't get hurt. But then someone told me that he has to go out, fall down, get hurt, learn his lessons, and come out. That's parenting is like a learning curve. There is no perfect parenting. But what I focused on, being an entrepreneur and a reader and a writer, was mental health, was positive self-talk, is about the stuff that I spoke in front of my son. My own personal experience, my biggest influence in my life was my mother and my grandmother. They brought me up. I was brought up with 2 very powerful and strong women. So for me, they were always super moms. My mom was always willing to go out, face any challenge and fight. She was never my grandmother was far more intelligent in terms of investing and taking care of the family than anybody else in my family. Not even the men could match her in terms of her acumen. So I was brought up by these really wonderful women, and I inculcated a lot of things from them. So I really feel women, they don't require these titles of super moms and all. Women have certain unique qualities that we men actually, when we look at them, we are in awe, because the way they handle situations, the way they handle pressures, and the way their mind works, it is such an all-embracing, compassionate mind that for a man, usually a man is mostly in men out there are usually in a very survival mode. We are always trying to outwork anybody. We are trying to do more than other people. We are trying to win bread and stuff like that. Women have a very balanced approach towards life. So hearing these women, I just want to say that as a father, I have always been I've revered women in my family. I think that is one of the reasons my son has also a lot of respect for his grandmother, for his aunts, for women in the. I think the only thing that a man can do is, or a woman can do, is to become the best version of themselves, to walk the talk, to probably lead by example, and at the same time just live their own lives and do the best that they can do. I mean, of course, not sacrificing their own mental health and their own personal ambitions because of a relationship or societal pressure, which I completely agree with Jessica. I think Jessica was point on, because in my culture especially, we expect a woman to go to work, come back, cook food, take care of children. And if she wants to rest or something, then we still have issues with that. So I think that needs to completely transform in our culture. So I mean, I'm just going to listen to more of the things that you guys want to say, and I'm going to pick up as much as possible. This is probably a very big learning session for me as a father. And I can only give my point of view as a father. I can't dare to give a point of view as a mother. I can only just absorb as much as possible from you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jitesh. And I think a very good, if to sum up this particular segment, is that we are now waking up to that reality and saying, hey, you know what, stop. I need to do self-care. I need a break. I need to have this cup of coffee. I am not going to juggle as much as previous generations or even somebody in the neighborhood. So I'm going to be myself. And yet you cannot, or someone cannot judge saying you're not doing this as a mom that you are expected to do. I recently read a very nice Insta post that we are judged, unfortunately, as women, whether we are working women or not working women, whether we have children early or children late. Are we dropping children to school or are we not? Are we taking care of their homework? So I think we have now kind of accepted, and we are moving to that level where we say, as Mr. Jitesh said, our mental health is important and we need to take care of ourselves. And Jessica put it very firmly, I am who I am. That doesn't mean I'm not taking care well as a mother or not. So after this whole serious topic discussion, let's go to a little bit of a humorous part. I'm sure as mothers or as fathers, we've had this one funny incident with one, or maybe numerous, but maybe one that you always recall when your children were little, or even now. And maybe you want to share that, and I will start with Sue. Any funny incident of being a mom, super mom, or anything? Over to you, please.
This is really, really tricky, because I think over the years, my babies are now 27 and 18 years old. So I've got a lot of really, really funny memories, really. But I think the one that sticks out hugely is when we were having some really sunny weather, which doesn't happen a lot in the UK, if I'm honest. It can be very variable. But we had the paddling pool out in the garden. So we had like a blow-up paddling pool with some water in it. And my now 18-year-old was a little bit hesitant at the time of kind of making a splash. The water wasn't deep, but he didn't really want to jump in. And I made a big thing of it, and we were really kind of, I'll count you down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And he went running up, and he slid when he was jumped in, and he slid, and he didn't hurt himself physically, but there was this big splash bump onto his bottom and in this pool, and this splash of water all over the place. And it was funny. But he didn't need me to laugh at that moment. He needed me to go, oh no, how unfortunate. Come here, do you want a hug? But then the child's wet and I've got my clothes on, and I just had to figure out that I had to try and hide the smile, because he would have been really cross and really upset if I was laughing at him as well. But everything in you wants to kind of go, oh, that's really funny. But he really didn't need that. He needed the care, and oh dear, how sad. Come here, do you need a cuddle? And I did manage to do it, I think, but I did have a funny grin on my face at the same time. But I used to also childmind in the UK, and there are so many funny things that children have done over the years, which it's nice to kind of think back, isn't it? Because it always makes you smile. But I'm hoping that even though it was an unfortunate incident at the time, my child wasn't scarred for life in terms of that kind of, oh my goodness, what's happened. But it still does bring a smile to my face now, if I'm honest. It's quite funny. But I think it's how we manage those moments, isn't it? And how we, in that moment, are also able to be there emotionally for our children.
Absolutely. Again, it is such a beautiful balance. And sometimes when they grow up, you want to tell them, remember, this is what happened, like I used to go and sit near Sarah's play group. Because when she was I put her a little early on, much to my family's dismissal, I put her in a play group starting 19 months. And I would go out and sit. And one day the teacher said, we have enough of you. We've just had enough of you coming. And she's now starting to see you from those windows. And how do you expect your child to settle? And she was so harsh. And yet I couldn't stop. I mean, I had no shame or feeling bad. I did this with 3 of Sarah's schools. I have been like kicked out until she went into this, when she was in 3 years, they told me, why are you here? I like, maybe she needs me. Like, so she asked me, how long are you planning to be here? I said, till I finish my cup of coffee. Then they realized that I take about 45 minutes when I sit there. So this is like when I narrate this to Sarah, she wants to hear again and again. And it was that time, of course, I was being a very, funny mother. But now I look back and smile on that. Yeah. So I get where you're saying, Sue, that, at that time, other people might perceive it differently, your child might perceive it differently, but we are in our zones as moms, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, with this, I go to Sana. Sana, tell us about your funny or any humorous incident that you can think of.
Yes, Imran, it's happened the last night. The 2 days ago, that one, what happened? I have a 7.5 years old boy. And so he asked me that when we sat together and watch a movie. So he said, Mama, I want one more big house. So how we get it? Only $200 is enough for us to get one more house? I said, no, more than. How many? $1 million? I said, yes. Okay. So the next day, the last night, I just, my daughter, my husband, my son, and me sat together, and I just took my phone and I ordered to the restaurant the roti. It's around the 8 to 10 dirham. So I just disconnect my phone. So my son said to my daughter, look, Mama is wasting the money. Now, how we will get a new house? So it was a very funny moment for us. And then how the children observe what we act, what we said to them. So it happened that time.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I'm sure this will continue. Anytime now you order anything else, and especially now when you go to grocery
store. Observe that one who sat beside me.
And wait till you have any kind of Amazons of the world coming in, giving you some of the parcels. And
I must be alert now.
All right. Thank you so much, Sana, for sharing that with us. And I move to Jessica. Jessica, do you want to share something funny with us?
So I used to play peekaboo with my daughter. And we started playing peekaboo with her when she was 5 months old. So what we used to do is to take a handkerchief, napkin, or a bedsheet, whatever we had around us, and cover our face. And the moment I let it down, and I used to have that eye contact, we used to say peekaboo. Normal, right? At 7.5, she was just 7.5. Actually, she started at 7, but yeah, 7.5 months old. Whenever we used to say, where are you? She would hide somewhere where a pillow or whatever used to be around her. She would hide and look up to me, and I would say peekaboo. I mean, for me, it was a big thing that how can she at 7 months old understand that I have to hide, and when I look up, mama is going to say peekaboo. And it used to be a big laugh for all of us. And when your 7-month-old child is understanding and observing you for last 2 months, that my mom dad are playing peekaboo with me, they hide themselves and then they make an eye contact. I mean, for me, that was one thing that it was a crazy thing. I feel that my daughter just picked it up, and how. And like my second daughter did not pick this up. I'm not comparing, but I'm just saying that, yes, this is one moment that I really cherish with her, that she's 2.5 today. And I tell her, you used to play peekaboo since the time you were 7.5 months. So yeah, that's one thing that I really like.
Yeah. And as she grows up, if you tell her when she's preteen, she'll say, how can you even talk to me about that? So
I dread that moment.
But yeah, that will also bring a smile to your face.
Yeah.
So I move to Archana. Archana, are you there? Yes. I'm sure you have a funny incident up your sleeve to talk to us about.
Oh, yes. Talking about children, you have many, many memories and many funny incidences. So I would like to share. So it's not that we have these funny memories with children only in their early years, but even as they grow and when they are in their teens, now this spark goes to a different level, right? So truly speaking, I have been a very conventional, traditional parent who's been, having that image of a perfect child in my head. So it's something like, my daughter should be perfect in whatever she does. And then this was when my daughter was a 3-year-old. And if you guys remember, there was this movie called Kargil. Okay, Sunny Deol, and it's an army-based movie. And I loved this movie. So she used to sit and watch the movie along with me. And one day she declared, Mom, I want to be an army woman when I grow up. I was so proud. I felt, patriotism at the age of 3. What good values I have instilled in my baby. And then I asked her, what inspires you to be an army woman, my baby? She says, Ma, so if I go into the army, I will be posted in Kashmir. Will I? Or maybe Kashmir, or maybe Rajasthan, maybe anyway. She says, no, Kashmir. No, why? I think we get a lot of fresh strawberries in Kashmir. Yeah, like you want to get into the Indian Army just to eat strawberries? She says, Hyderabad doesn't have fresh strawberries, Mom. Right? So it's like, children, you never know what they think, how they speak. And the same child, now she is a 24-year-old. My mom says to her one day, child, time to get married now. You need to get married. She says, Grandma, why? I'm only 24. Why should I get married now? So she says, no, your face will lose the charm a couple more years later. So photographs won't be good. So my daughter says, Grandma, we have something called the photo editing app. You can make yourself look as young as possible. And then my mom says, oh, don't ask me such things. So my daughter says, okay, Grandma, give me specifications, give me height, weight, qualification. What all do you want in my group? So my mom says, oh, what do you mean? Grandma, quickly tell me. We have a big sale going on Amazon. We can order a specific piece as we want. And the best thing is, if we don't like the model, 30 days money back. And so like my mom was like, look at what she says. Like, she's pulling your leg, right? So from a stage where they're too silly with their answers to a stage wherein they pull your leg, literally. So parenting is a very enjoyable journey. And like everybody knows, children don't come with manuals. What I think may apply to my elder daughter definitely will not apply to my younger one. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Archana. And I'm sure your mom is not going to ask her for a very long time to get married or anything on those lines. At least for some time she won't.
True.
Okay, we move to Mr. Jitesh. You want to share your parenting, yours, or you witnessing your, any mom having a funny incident? Over to you, please.
So my parenting journey has been like a comedy movie. So I've been doing such silly stuff and things that my son still laughs at me. And the funniest thing that I can remember from my childhood was that when we were very little, and in our older house we had a huge backyard, and there was some construction going on behind that. So some laborer at night jumped into our house to steal some stuff. Now my mom has this, she's always alert. So she got up and she peeked into the window, and she peeked and she saw the laborer. She came to our room. She said, guys, we have a thief in the house. I said, so what do we do? Let's beat the guy. So I'm like, Mom, are you? She says, yeah, how dare you enter a house? And my mom picked up a bat, and we picked up a bat, and my dad picked up his gun, but my dad hid behind the door. And my mom ran towards the guy, and we ran towards the guy because our mom was running towards the guy. And the poor guy was in a state of shock because he saw 3 people running towards him with a bat. So he jumped on the wall, tried to cross, and my mom grabbed his leg, pulled him down, gave him a nice bashing. Again, he jumped on the wall and he ran away. And I could hear him crying and howling. And I still remember that he must have gone back and swore that never to come to our house again. But the lesson that I learned from that was that my mom was never faint-hearted, you know, and my mom was very brave and is very brave. Until date, she's very brave and she's ready to do anything. If I want to go on an adventure, everybody says, no, we're not going sand dune bashing. My mom, like, first person to go sand dune bashing with me. So I learned courage from my mom. You know, my mom, of course, she feels fear, but she faces her fear. That's what I loved about her. And my dad was the best, you know, with his licensed gun. He was behind the door, standing like this. I said, Dad, put down the phone, you're going to shoot us. But put on the gun. But that was such a funny incident. Every time I sit down with my friends for a drink, I always narrate the entire incident. It was extremely funny. There were parts to it which were really funny, but it stayed with me that she was always ready to protect her children. Till date, even when in the playground we would have a fight and she was around, she was the first one to like come. I never needed an elder brother to, you know, take care of me. My mom was always there. So I think that's what I learned from her courage. She told me once, a long back, she said, courage is happiness. You know, as long as you're courageous, you'll be very happy. And courageous doesn't mean go out and fight with people. Courageous is standing for yourself. I think that's the lesson that I learned from that incident.
Super.
Yeah.
So superb. And I'm so glad you narrated your incident from your childhood. And that's amazing. And it's still making you smile and made us, all of us, smile. So as we come towards the almost the fag end of the show, I would come to each one of you to talk about something as a mom skill. And while you're talking about your mom skills, also talk to us about a hack or a mantra or a tool that has worked for you. And perhaps the audience that is watching us today, being a mom, being a parent, being a guardian, can help them, because we want to go just beyond discussing this. We also want to leave a message or a tool, as we say. So I come back to you, Sue. Talk about this, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I think, kind of summing up almost what other people have said and bringing everything kind of together, we need to consider what is perfect. What are the expectations of the culture, of your family, etc.? And I understand people kind of see themselves as super mums or don't see themselves as super mums, but I think what we need to remember is whether you decide that you're a super mum or super parent or not, you don't have to be superhuman. And I think there's a massive difference. And as Sana and others have said, you know, about making time for yourself, about being the best version of yourself that you can. What is important for our little children is that they will see you as the superhero, regardless of how well you benchmark yourself against your mum, your grandma, or the multi-generations that might have come before you. I think this is really, really it's important to establish that. Children won't know what your mum did, what your grandma did, etc. They just know what you do. And it's such an important role model to them to show children that they mean the world to you and that you're going to be there for them with that unconditional love, regardless of what's happening. Sadly, as we think about kind of child protection things around the world, not every child has this backup. So just think, you know, you are the superhero to your children, regardless of how well you judge yourself and what you benchmark yourself to as well. So I think in terms of kind of what are the stressors we've talked about, or we've kind of briefly mentioned before, maybe working parents, trying to balance the stressors, the deadlines of work, the actual time you spend at work, or maybe working at home, and forgetting that kind of guilt of dropping your children at childcare, because there's lots of research to show us the benefits that childcare has on children. And obviously early care and education from other people helps them with those transitions to school, helps them with those social skills with playing with other children. And there's a phenomenal amount of kind of backup research here that's showing that childcare has got a lot of benefits for children, but it obviously doesn't replace you as a parent. And what you do as a parent is most important, but it balances, and you are a perfect balance to what's going on if your children are in childcare. The other side of the coin is that lots of people around the world live in those multi-generational households. And whether you go out to work or whether you don't go out to work, I think some of the difficulties may come from the position, the hierarchical position that some cultures pay to the oldest female in the family. And it's not always the fact that you agree with the oldest female in the family about how you want to bring up your children. What happens when their children are finding life a challenge? I'm using the word naughty in air quotes because I don't use the word naughty, but obviously around the world, people maybe will. What do the other generations think about that? Do you need to take your child to one side to try and handle this as the mum or the dad? Or does somebody else step in and try to do it a different way? And again, research shows that one of the big things that we are often judged as parents is about how we respond to children's behaviour and how others think that our children should be behaving in the first place. So I think we've got a lot of balances. My take homes, I guess, are to be the best person that you can. We talk about kind of your emotional and your physical well-being, and you can't pour from an empty cup. So you try and be all this support, provide all this support to your family and your children, but you need to balance that with actually how are we going to replenish your emotional and physical cup, and taking a little bit of time for yourself when you can. Your children, they need your connection. I see a lot of parents that spend far too much time on their phones. They're trying to collect their children from preschool and from early childcare, education and school on their phones. They need that reconnect. They need your time rather than your time on your phone. And also they need that kind of, they need reaffirming, they need that attachment, they need your time as well. And also the need to feel empowered and not told what to do all the time. So children, I think, need our attention and also need empowering. And those are my two take homes, I think.
Thank you so much, Sue. And you've touched upon quite a lot. Also how we look up to our parents or the joint families that we stay in. And then sometimes it is not that it's just not you parenting, it is a mix of a lot of signals for the child. And it sometimes can get a lot of stress. And it can have that subtle guilt, which is thrown by a lot of people. And yeah, I think it's also a good thing that if we were to take care of ourselves better, we are available emotionally for our children. So thank you so much for that, Sue. I go to Sana. Sana, talk to us about mom's guilt and any hacks that you have discovered.
Am I audible? Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. So when here I want to share with you the one thing that when my child, when he was 3 years old, so he was vocalizing only 4 to 5 words, right? So at that time I was a teacher at 8 to 2. I was in the classes. He was with me in the school in the nursery. So one time I read over there that when in the 2.5 years old, the child should be vocalizing up to 200 to 50 words over there. But I feel it, why he vocalizing only the 4 to 5 words? So I was very worried about it. The whole night I was thinking about that. I blame myself that one where I was lacking at that moment, what I did the wrong. So in the next day, I just called to my parents and grandmothers and the relatives they told me that one, no worries about that. When our son was starting talking at the age of the 4th, some said that no worries about that. My daughter was starting talking about the vocalizing words properly at the age of the 6th. Some said at the age of the 7th. I just hear about that one, and then I was just took me and my husband took the decision to go for the therapy, and then got appointment for that. Then we went over there, and I just literally, I was crying in front of the therapist that I was wrong being the mother. I was letting, he said, no, it's a normal thing is over there. He need only for the therapies, and he will be fine, inshallah, very soon. Because you are at the moment, you are on the time, you came over there and discuss. The most of the parents are came at the age of the 6, at the age of the 7. So it would be the late. So it is the right time. You came here, you have to start it, and he will be able to start the vocalizing words and the sentences, each and everything. So I just, I didn't listen anyone, the grandma, grandpa, that why you are why you are wasting your money over there, why you are wasting your time over there to go over there. And he's a very little boy, and he will be started the soon, as you know, that one, his papa, his mother, like these things, which is a history camp. So alhamdulillah that we took the decision that one, and we have to get in the twice a week, we have to get the therapist over there 2 to 3 months, 3 months, yeah, 3.5 months. And then he started the proper words, proper sentences. So now here is my message is that one, whatever at the time of, you have to observe your child where he is lacking at the same moment. You have to take a step rather than you have to wait it for the 2 months, for the 3 months, either the 1 year. Don't wait. Don't waste your time. It is the best time when you observe it in the very early age. You have to go appointment and take a decision over there. It is the best way. So this is my message, that one, don't demotivate yourself. Don't guilt yourself. Being a super mom, you have to take a decision. You have to take a decision for your child, and you have to go over there and you have to work on it. So that's my message, that one, don't demotivate and motivate yourself. You are the only the super mom. You are the only motivate yourself. Someone is coming to motivate yourself 30 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe 60 minutes, not more than. And again, there you have to go for the depression. So you have to motivate yourself. So that's my message.
That's a very powerful message, Sana. And it is having an underlying message that if you're a super mom, trust your gut feeling. Because mom's gut feeling, maybe the whole family will tell you. I mean, everybody has an opinion. That's the easiest thing to give. Like, don't do this now. Maybe you can wait it out. But if that's what you feel, you do it, you act upon it. And I don't know about the guilt, but at least you know in your mind that you've done the right thing at the right time. Thank you for that powerful message, Sana. Thank you very much. And I move to Jessica. Jessica, do you want to please talk about this? The floor is yours.
As I mentioned that I'm a mother of 2 and I'm a counselor, you know, in this entire journey till now, what I have figured is the most challenging part is the emotional regulation for any mother. We mothers experience so many emotions together. We're happy, sad, frustrated, we don't have patience, excited, managing household, work, playing with kids, and of course our careers as well. So hence regulating all the emotions, that becomes challenging. And if we fail to regulate, not only we, our kids are also going to bear the brunt of this dysregulation. I feel and I know how emotional intelligence is crucial for us in motherhood. And this is one thing that I, emphasize with my children also, is how we can learn to name, understand, and regulate our emotions. I also model myself because modeling is a huge way that children learn. And this is especially true for, how to navigate the strong emotions. So when you talk about challenge, so yes, emotional regulation is one of the biggest challenge. Coming to mom guilt, it can be at any time and any moment. For example, maybe some of us sitting right in front of the screen are thinking about what my kids are doing there. Oh my God, why I'm not there? My child just came from her basketball class and I just could not say, hi, how was it? So mom guilt can appear anytime and anywhere. The only way, the way I have always survived mom guilt, I remember for the first time when I went out for a dinner with my friends after delivering my daughter, and it was she was 5 or 6 months old, and she could sleep on her own. And on her own, as in she did not only require me. My husband was there to take care of her. And I kept on calling my husband that, has she slept? No, no, she's still playing. She's still playing. You don't worry, carry on. And 11:30, I know this is the max that she will doze off. At 11 o'clock exact, the party was still on. Party as in, we were like 7 of us. Everything was at full brim. Everybody is talking. And I'm right in the middle of the table. Please get the check. I paid my share and I ran. I told the driver, please mujhe ghar pahunchao. I want to reach home before I want to meet my daughter before she dozes off. Because mujhe pata hai wo, she will ask, where is my mom? And yes, this happened. She asked, my husband said that she's coming. Don't worry. She's just right there. But she dozed off before I reached. I was in tears. I remember I cried so much that she did not meet me before sleeping and she was asking about me. I was in guilt and how. And yes, that day I realized that yes, mom guilt is real and it does kill you inside. But the entire night I kept on telling myself, and I was just talking to my daughter while she was, I'm doing my best, whatever I can do. So I made a point that every morning I used to give positive affirmations to myself that I'm good enough, I'm doing the best for my child. It's okay to take a break, and it is okay that if one fine night she slept off without me. Yes, that's how I did it. That's all.
Thank you, Jessica. So it's more of a positive affirmation. Thanks a lot for sharing that with us. And I now go to Mr. Jitesh to wrap this up for us. And of course, from a different perspective, give us some insight on mom's guilt or some kind of a hack. Over to you, Jitesh. The floor is yours.
So a lot of wonderful different hacks, and I'm no psychologist or a person who knows too much about mental health, but how I remember as a child is that whenever my father would come back from work and would be stressed, I think the entire family would get stressed. We would think, what happened? Is everything was going to be fine? What's going wrong? That kind of a thing. So I think one thing that I learned from that was that when I'm working, I'm working. When I'm at home, I'm present with my family. And I'm not thinking about work and I'm not stressed. And whatever's going on at work, I try to be there with them. Another thing that I do is we watch a lot of comedy movies together. We laugh together, which really helps out, bond us together. Another thing that I really feel is that I exercise. I keep my mental health at check. I also am a people's person, so I go out and meet a lot of friends. I call a lot of friends to my place, and my son is usually hanging out with us. So I somehow seen that he's also started making a lot of friends. He values his friends a lot. I really value my friends. When my friends come over, it's the happiest time for me when we sit together and we chat and stuff. I think one of my favorite part of the month or the week is when my friends are over. We discuss stuff, we chat, we eat together. And I always make sure my son is sitting next to me. And he likes to hang out with my friends. He thinks my friends are his friends. And now when I see him hanging out with his friends and stuff, and I see the same thing, I think he's becoming a people's person. So that's what I want him to do. I want him to make a lot of friends, and I want him to, I don't want to get my stress and my challenges from work at home. And I don't want them to feel that there's something wrong. And I think the best way to love people is to be present with them. So I'm trying to be as present as possible with them. I had this whole thing about being on my laptop and my iPad and my phone all the time, even at work and at home. And I realized that there were so many times my mother wanted to talk to me, my son wanted to talk to me, and I was just checking my mail again and again and again. So I've just done this no tablet phone rule in my house, where I put all the stuff on one side. When I'm with them, I'm just present with them. that's what I'm doing. That's how I'm learning. And I try to read a lot of articles about parenting. Some articles that I don't agree with, some I do, but I just try to pick and choose good stuff that works with me, which can resonate with me in some way, something which is doable, something which is not too radical for me. So I think a happy father. I'm talking in terms of a father, a happy father, a present father, a father who is not trying to compare you with anyone, a father who loves you no matter what, and a father who's very cool. Like my son will not discuss some issues with my wife, but he would come and discuss it with me. And I'm sure in the future he's going to come and discuss his girlfriends with me and stuff like that. And I'm probably going to help whatever little knowledge I have, I'll share with them. So it's just that bond of friendship that we have with each other. I think that's what I cherish the most. And I love spending time with him. I think that's these are the little things as a father I'm doing, and I'm learning in the entire process. It's such a wonderful journey. A lot of people say it's a stressful. It was till a certain age. I was a very stressed parent. I was very worried about him till I realized that I have to really look into my own life and fix things, and that would reflect also in my son's life. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for wrapping this up, because if we were to look at things positively and learn from our experience and bring that to the family, that is one of the best way to start. So on this note, I thank each one of you for being here, and our lovely audience for joining us from across the world. And a special thanks to Mr. Jitesh, because this was Super Mums and he was so happy to be a part of this. And we look forward to doing more events with you and having your presence. Thank you once again, Dr. Vasavi, and giving us this forum. A big gratitude. And I wanted to say in the start that we will be putting the info on how you can be the member of ECDF and contribute your time or your skills with us and make a meaningful difference in the society. So this is Simran Balani signing off and wishing you all a very happy Mother's Day in advance. I hope you find time to make yourself a nice cup of coffee and say, I need to have this coffee now. So on that note, have a wonderful weekend and lots of love, and we will see you all very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Such a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye. Bless you all.
Bye.